Why do you feel tired all the time? Um, there are as many answers to this question as there are people. Even so, I want to offer this short set of invitations because in both my own personal experience and in the people that I've worked with in the last decade and a half, these are some of the more underdiagnosed, um, under-recognized, under-acknowledged reasons why we have chronic exhaustion, chronic tiredness. Sometimes, for instance, tiredness is just cynicism. So if you've already looked at places that your Instagram handle is asking you to look at, or your doctor is asking you to look at, or like places like, oh, my sleep is off, okay, but well, seems to be okay, I seem to be eating okay, I seem to be exercising, there isn't a lot of external stress, but even so I'm feeling tired. And in those kind of constellations where ostensibly there's nothing wrong, but you still feel tired, I want to offer that the places you might want to look at are what I like to call as the four horsemen of the modern apocalypse. The four places where tiredness hides, or which are really the sources of long-term exhaustion, long-term tiredness. The first of this is politeness. Politeness is not gentleness. Gentleness is a way of being. Politeness is a strategy, and anything that is a strategy is eventually repressive and deeply exhausting. So if you're feeling tired, look at the places where you're being polite when it is not in alignment with your inner feeling. So one is politeness. Second is political correctness, where political correctness is fantastic in matters of social justice, when you want affirmative action, more space for women on panels, boards, everywhere else, more space for people of non-binary gender persuasions to be everywhere else. Political correctness is great at a societal level, is terrible in personal relationships, because we then get invested in looking like we are keeping the main thing, as against actually keeping the main thing, which is disastrous, because then you are more invested on whether someone believes that you're being loving, or as against being loving yourself. And then as that gap widens, there is a hollowness that you begin to feel, as even if you're not able to name it, as a resistance, that you're really not able to locate the innermost feeling, because there's so much on top. So there is political correctness, there is politeness. The third place where exhaustion hides is pretension. When you have to pretend, all the places where you pretend smiling, pretend working. I mean, these are not watertight containers, as you've already seen, but I'm offering these words because they are both blurry but also very distinct places to be, right? When you're pretending, or you're being politically correct, or you're being polite. So if you're pretending, then you're likely to be tired. And the last, which I feel is the greatest undiagnosed source of our tiredness, is shallowness. The amount of shallowness there is today, that we are constantly being asked to engage with. We know the names of all the fancy vegetables, all the fancy cuisines, all the restaurants, the forms of music, what have you, but there is no deeper engagement. All the exercise forms, we know the barbell from the dumbbell from, and there is the engagement with any of those things is up to a point where you can probably create a 30-second reel about it, but no more. And that kind of shallowness eats away on our insides. And so I want to leave you with these invitations today, that If you're feeling tired, look at the places in your life where you're being shallow, where you're being politically correct, where you're pretending, where you're being polite. Recognize them and confront.